It is the second half of a weekend doubleheader. MASL2 Indoor Soccer is on Game Time Media, GameTimeMN.com. And the Minnesota Blizzard, fresh off a 6-5 victory over Wichita last night, will face the Wings again today here on, well, it's Jersey Day today, and the jerseys will actually have changed for both of the teams as we get things rolling here, going with different color combinations for each of the teams. In this third and final meeting head-to-head this season between these two teams, it was a 10-2 victory for Wichita in the first meeting of the season, which was the season opener for the Wings and the second game of the season for Minnesota. And then the game last night was the second meeting, obviously, and that'll wrap up the head-to-head season series between the Blizzard and the Wings. The Wichita club has just one game remaining after today's game. They will be at, I think it's Omaha on Friday to wrap things up. The Minnesota Blizzard, meanwhile, will take a little bit of time off before playing on the 11th and 12th of April with games here. And we are at the Centennial Sports Arena, as you see on the scoreboard there with the countdown to introductions. Countdown to game time. One of those two factors will come into play here as Wichita is ready for team introductions and the Blizzard are going through their final instructions inside their locker room. But we are in Circle Pines, Minnesota. That is the home this season for Minnesota Blizzard MASL2 soccer. They were at the Warner Coliseum on the State Fairgrounds last season, a huge venue that's going through some major renovations. Indications are that the Blizzard will be back at Warner Coliseum next season, but this season playing all of their home games, all 6 in a row, 6 road, 6 home. Pretty simple in that sense for Minnesota, playing all of their home games here at the Centennial Sports Arena in Circle Pines, Minnesota. Roy with you on the call here this afternoon, this evening, if you will. We're kind of in that bubble time. Tim is on camera, Laurel assisting as well. And this Circle Pines Arena came about in 1991, and then in 2019, so just about 6-7 years ago, they underwent a big $9 million renovation. This is a facility that will seat about 1,200 people, and there was a big number of people here yesterday. We had the biggest of the 3 crowds that we've had for the home games for the Blizzard. A lot of kids, a number of youth soccer teams were on hand. But it was a great atmosphere last night, and the fans really getting into the game. With it being such a close game, no doubt that had a good factor in that as well. But this facility will seat about 1,200 people. It's got a meeting room and a big lobby, great concession area. It is the home for Centennial high school boys and girls hockey during that season, which is why to get a turf field in here, you have to wait until the hockey season is done, and the Blizzard end up playing the games here after high school hockey, of course, in order to have all 6 games here at this facility, which does also host lacrosse and baseball and softball with the turf field in place, in addition to some indoor soccer here at the Centennial Sports Arena. Blizzard are making their way out of the locker room, so we'll have the introductions of the entire rosters for each team momentarily, and then be ready to roll with this MASL2 Midwest Division soccer game. Yesterday it was a thriller. It was back and forth all night long. Wichita scored, Minnesota answered. It went back and forth like that for a little while before Minnesota scored 2 in a row to take the lead. And then Wichita would tie Minnesota, and it went back and forth like that for a little bit. Eventually, Devin DeGrotto scored the game winner with about 2:45 to go. For Wichita, here's their lineup for today. Wearing number 0 is goalkeeper Joel Barroso. Number 1 is goalkeeper Juan Jose Echeverry. He'll get the start today. Number 2 is Kieran Lakin. Number 10, Alex Escobedo. Number 11 for the Wings is David Lucio. Number 12, Arturo Valiz. Number 13 is Taylor Henry. Number 17, Dalton Chrisman. Number 24 is Eric Mathis. Wearing number 25 today is Jared Robbins, a number change from yesterday with the different jerseys. Number 26 is Phil Wynn. And wearing number 31, Carter Watkinson. The coach is LeBaron Holloman for the Wichita Wings. A 4-4-2 record coming into this evening's game. And the full roster for Minnesota Blizzard FC starts with number 00, Daniel Orozco. His backup today is Danny Burgos. Number 3 is Spencer Overturf. Had a 3-assist game yesterday. Wearing number 4, Diego Yang. Number 7 for the Blizzard, Francesco Esteban. Wearing number 10 is Devin DeGrotto. Number 11 is Jared Garcia. Number 12 is Kevin Ortiz. You may notice that Hubert Kopany was missed. He's standing at the door. Evan Moreno wears number 15 today. Number 16 is Jordan Maldonado. Number 17, Gabe Arreguin. Number 22 is Efren Tellez. 23, Gustavo Nascimento. Number 25, Logan Weller. There we go. Number 8, Hubert Kopany. And number 30 is Tyler Beaupre. The Blizzard are coached by assistant coaches Ryan Heinrichs, Ashton Frost, and Robert Cooper. The head coach, general manager, owner for the Blizzard is Chad Hendricks. Two games remain after this for the Minnesota Blizzard. One game remains after this for the Wichita Wings. Minnesota now a record of 1-8 on the season, and Wichita 4-4-2. Public address announcer Josh Powers reminding folks to get those Blizzard sticks. I've called them Thunder sticks, Blizzard sticks. And last night's crowd really enjoyed having those, primarily the kids, and they were having a blast, banging the Blizzard sticks, making noise, having little dueling battles between siblings and friends, just having a fun old time here at the Centennial Sports Arena. Wearing the light blue today, Minnesota Blizzard, with the dark blue numbers trimmed in white, and the orange shorts, black jerseys, the fancy W logo on the front of the jerseys for the Wings. Long time presence in indoor soccer. The starters today for the Wings: Echeverry will be in goal. Lakin, Lucio, Henry, Chrisman, and Robbins are out. Orozco starts in goal for the Minnesota Blizzard after his debut yesterday, a player on loan through the affiliation with the MASL's Kansas City Comets. Orozco is joined by Overturf, Copani, DeGrado, Nascimento, and Weller. Stats from last night's game do appear to show that Nascimento scored that game-opening goal that put Minnesota on the board and started the seesaw battle that we had in yesterday's 6-5 Minnesota victory over Wichita. Ready to roll. We've got our 4 game officials. 2 are on the field, 2 are in the score bench area. So it is a 4-person crew on the officiating side. Roy on the microphone, Tim and Laurel work camera, and we are underway with action. The Wings, again, they're in the black jerseys, orange shorts. They go from left to right, trying to get it to Robbins, and it's instead Lakin who bangs it off the glass. A follow-up try, kind of whiffing on it, is Chrisman, and then it's rolled around the far corner. Robbins is one of the top scorers, 10 points on the season, one of the top scorers for the Wings, and when he is kind of in that offensive position, he is really a load to deal with, who's ever marked up on him for the Minnesota Blizzard. Orozco will play that out of the corner, and then tipping it away Nascimento from a potential scoring chance as DeGrado works through the middle. Minnesota's top scorer at 8 goals and 2 assists on the season. 10 goals and 7 assists on the season for DeGrado. Esteban at 8 goals and 2 assists is number 2 on the scoring list for Minnesota, and both those players in the lineup today, as they were yesterday. Opportunity for Overturf, dribbles through traffic and scores 1 minute and 8 seconds in. Overturf, who had the trio of assists yesterday, gets himself a goal here right away. Overturf on the goal. That'll be his 2nd goal of the season, and 1 minute and 8 seconds in, 13:52 to go in the first quarter. Overturf gets the Blizzard on the board. So Minnesota, who didn't enjoy a lead until well into yesterday's game, strikes first on their first scoring opportunity. And it is a 1-0 lead for the Blizzard. Wynn moves that ball over to his left. Here comes the announcement on the goal. Here's a chance for Upper to tie it up, but he kind of fanned on the kick. Overturf, unassisted. Wings have had a couple of good opportunities right there. Player kind of whiffed on an opportunity, just fanned on the ball. Copani walks it up. He's got his keeper over to the right side, Orozco, who we saw yesterday gets very involved in the play. Swung over to the left side, centered here, broken up. Copani out to Ortiz. There's a shot. That one is wide. Well, not wide so much. It banged off the near side dashers. I thought the ball was going to spin into the goal, and then it was cleared away. So Minnesota gets another great scoring chance after Overturf put the Blizzard on the board. A little dangerous there, very dangerous, in fact. That'll be played off the dashers, and then a bit of a bicycle kick. There's a block. Wichita did that all night long last night, blocking great Minnesota shots. And we're starting off in a similar situation here today. That block, by the way, was by Wynn, who had one of the goals in yesterday's game, Phil Wynn. Esteban on the pitch. He'll find Copani. Feeds it over to Overturf. That shot was blocked. Copani can't get that one through. That one might have been blocked as well. And that one may have hit a player on the Wings bench, so that'll bring a stoppage. Not quite 3 minutes into the first quarter. We play 4 quarters in MASL2, 4 quarters. 9th season for the MASL2. This is the 2nd season for the Minnesota Blizzard, but Wichita has a long history of indoor soccer, dating back to the late 70s, early 80s in different forms and such, considering the MASL2 has only been around for around a decade. Don't know that we had that happen at all yesterday, except during warm-ups before the second half of a ball straying into the crowd. Had it a lot 2 weeks ago when Minnesota was hosting the Iowa Raptors in a game. Orozco being very careful around Robbins, but he's able to manage that. Then tapped out by Nascimento and trying to volley that out of the air. DeGrotto couldn't get a good foot on it. Back to Arreguin. 3.5 minutes through the first quarter. Minnesota grabbed the very early lead in this one, just over a minute in over turf, his second goal of the season. And that one is sent out of play. So where are they going to put this one? So that's the goalkeeper clearing it out. And the kick originated from, well, they're going to put it back. They're going to put it where the ball actually went out of play, as opposed to where the kick was initiated from. And really right on the wall where the ball went out of play. So that is where it restarts for Wichita. Wichita averaging about 5.5 goals a game. They were right there yesterday. Minnesota at 4.3. They upped their average just a bit with a 6-5 win yesterday. That one slipped by Henry. I don't know if that was by design or not. Lakin swings it over to the left. Minnesota putting on a little bit of pressure. And this ball comes back to Echeverry. Echeverry was the backup yesterday. There's a steal and a 2-on-1. Nascimento with DeGrotto. Nascimento to DeGrotto. Shoots, and the save is made. The ball comes flying out. DeGrotto, as you saw, had to slow down just a shade on that 2-on-1 opportunity. That might have taken away a little bit of the prime scoring opportunity, and a conversion at the other end. This is Taylor Henry to even up the game at 1 apiece. Henry on the goal with 10:39 to go in the first quarter. Henry, he had 3 assists yesterday. He gets his 3rd goal of the season, and Wichita has squared things up with Minnesota at a goal apiece. Still over 10.5 minutes to play in the first quarter. Yesterday's game, I believe, was 2-1 at the half. Here comes the announcement on the goal. Unassisted for Henry, 3rd goal of the season. Yesterday was 2-1 at halftime. Wichita, and we're on a bit of a higher scoring pace potentially here today. As Ortiz centers that past Esteban, and Copani with a drive and the save. The rebound is there. Ortiz takes a whack at it, but right there to block it is Veliz, who takes the brunt of the ball and the leg, probably, of Ortiz. Copani swings it to the right flank. Threaded through, but didn't connect. And now all of a sudden you've got Henry racing the other way. He's down there with Escobedo. Escobedo with the shot, the save. And it is deflected out of play off the save by Orozco. Got a corner, I imagine, coming up here. New ball needed to be put into play. 9:43 remaining in the first quarter. Minnesota scored the game-winning play on a corner kick in yesterday's 6-5 victory over Wichita. And Green didn't get enough of that one, or maybe was trying to deliver a bit of a change-up. Lakin slides to put it into play. Robbins bangs it off the boards for a setup, but Lakin couldn't connect. And now Green will settle it down. Henry will settle it down, that is. Here's Robbins. Maldonado gets in his way. Robbins out to Henry and over to Lucio. Lucio, a couple of assists yesterday. There's a tough angle try by Robbins that bangs through the near corner. And now on the go, here's Esteban. Fleet of foot and very talented with that ball. Hooked that one just a bit. Henry hustles over to start it up for Wichita with 9 minutes remaining in the first quarter. So Minnesota about 4 goals a game. They broke their skid with the 6-5 win yesterday. Meanwhile, that loss for Wichita, now it's a 6-game slide for Wichita. The first of those 6 was in overtime and the second one in a shootout. So their official record is 4-4-2, but they have lost 6 consecutive after a 4-game winning streak to start the season. Headed through the corner by Orozco, set up for Lucio, but he's not going to get the chance to pull the trigger. Wynn comes across the field to Chrisman. Ortiz forces the turnover, and Esteban races. On his left, he's got Garcia. Spin, blast, wide, and then it comes past Garcia. Overturf, who scored the game-opening goal. If you missed that, he scored barely a minute in to put the Blizzard on the board, and now it is a 1-1 draw with 7:45 to go in the first. A long pass that's broken up. Erguin does a nice job of breaking that up as well. Meanwhile, we've got a Wichita player down after the collision with Erguin, and Escobedo is back to his feet, hobbling a little bit as he comes back on D. Tipped by Overturf toward the front, recollects it, sets it up, knocks it in. Weller on the goal! Weller from Overturf on a great bang play. And Minnesota has reestablished the lead here early on with a 2-1 advantage. 7:29 to go in the first quarter. Weller from Overturf, and we'll get our mandatory timeout here about midway through the opening quarter. For Weller on the season, that is goal number 7. He had a goal in yesterday's game. And Overturf, who had the 3 assists yesterday, with his 3 assists yesterday, Overturf already has a goal and an assist in this one. 7:29 remaining in the first quarter. Lakeville Brewing Company. Check out their 3 locations in the South Metro, including their summer spot on Lake Marion. Remember yesterday when I was saying we were kind of feeling like summer, daydreaming about summer? Well, we're done with summer apparently, because today here in the Twin Cities is 40 degrees cooler than it was yesterday at this time. 40 degrees cooler. What we love about Minnesota. My Credit Union, they can handle all your banking needs like they do for the Blizzard. Have your kids sign up for the Honeybee Club and start saving for their future. Mandatory timeout comes around this time, and frequently they take it after a goal is scored, and in this case the Minnesota goal should be announced as Weller from Overturf to give Minnesota now a 2-1 lead literally midway through the first quarter. The only other game played yesterday involving teams from the Midwest Division, I should say, narrowing it down to that scope. Demon Hawks beat the Raptors 9-1 as the Demon Hawks remain unbeaten at 10-0 on the season, which means they have just 2 games remaining on their season. Their game today at the Raptors, and then they come here on April 12th. Certainly the Demon Hawks will be advancing on into the postseason as they have wrapped up the Midwest Division. Here comes the announcement on the Blizzard goal, incidentally. Nascimento over to Overturf. A blast that ricochets up and drifts back out of play. This will be a restart for Wichita. Juan Jose Echeverri is in goal today, and he'll get the restart with 7 minutes to go in the first quarter. A little tip, and that one is out of play off the foot of Robbins. Actually was deflected out by a Minnesota player, apparently. Valise forced to the sideboards by Overturf, and the banging continues between those two. Minnesota comes away with the ball. DeGrado drops it back to Nascimento. Off the dashers, intercepted by Henry. And Henry can't free himself for a shot. He'll tip it off the outside of his toe to Valise, and then Lakin runs the setup. Green down to Robbins, trying to return it to Green. What a great job by Erguin. And then he slides to it, and the whistle goes which way? The foul is against the Wings. Robbins, maybe, is the one with the foul. There is a limit as to how many fouls you can get in a half. or face a 2-minute penalty. Happened not yesterday's game, but one of the games the previous time the Blizzard had their home doubleheader. Minnesota player Esteban gets tripped up, rubs his arm a bit. Minnesota restarts play with Esteban still collecting his thoughts. Centered, nice little tip, but getting in the way of that, Lakin, then Ortiz does return it into the corner. Maldonado to Kopany. Ortiz trying to line up a shot or looking for a good passing lane. Wichita, great job defending that right through the wickets of Lakin on goal, stopped by Echeverry. And Wichita will get it going right away. A little fake pass by Lucio, and they'll take their time working up the pitch. Robbins will wait for it off the corner, send it high and up. Yeah, that went out of play. There's glass behind the soccer glass because this is inside a hockey rink and they have some temporary boards set up where they allow the goal to come into play. But there is glass that is behind the hockey glass that, of course, counts as out of play. Kopany, flick ahead to Maldonado. Maldonado finds Esteban. Esteban, whoa, volleys it out of the air for a highlight goal. That's Francesco Esteban, and it is a 3-1 Minnesota lead. Esteban with goal number 9 on the season. And Minnesota up 3-1 with 5:06 remaining in this opening stanza. 3-1 Blizzard. Souvenir soccer balls. How does that young man have 2? Well, because the Blizzard keeps scoring. That's how that happens. Shared one of them with another guy. Here comes the announcement on the goal. Unassisted. Long play ahead. There was a nice play by Henry, flying in the air to knock down that long toss by the keeper. So a 3-1 lead, fairly late first quarter, still 4.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Valiz slips it ahead for Escobedo and gets that into the penalty box area, sliding down on it, Orozco. And Overturf, certainly off to a strong start today. Huge weekend for Overturf with the 3 assists yesterday. Knocked down by Green, comes up with it, an open chance, he shoots wide. And Orozco knew that was going wide. He let it go rather than take the bruise that would come with blocking it. Green sticking after it, but tipped over to Arreguin from Overturf. Nascimento, a goal and an assist yesterday. Under 4 to play in the first quarter here from Centennial Sports Arena. Minnesota has a man stationed down low out to Arreguin. His shot, a sliding, diving stop by Echeverry. Good save right there. Gets a high five from his teammate. Corner kick from Minnesota after that play. Now, yesterday they scored the game-winning goal off of a corner with a setup between Overturf and DeGrotto, not unlike what we're looking at right now. And let's see. They tried the same thing. This time it's blocked out of play. So this, I assume, will be another corner, right? Or no. This isn't a corner because where it came out. This will be a restart or a free kick for Minnesota, but from this angle here. Banging it around the board, seeing what he can do to get it to Weller out front, but Echeverry was ready to play that. DeGrotto tips it away from Lucio, then Arreguin gets to it. And he'll punch it back to his keeper. Drives it ahead for Weller, but stepping in front of that is Henry. It was Overturf, and Henry battling for the ball. Overturf, but Henry won the battle. Valiz, some nifty footwork there, but a pair of Minnesota players converge. Lucio now. Wichita changing players on the fly. Backdoor goal! Great setup. Great pass. It was pounded home by Valiz. And the setup came from, I think that was Lucio, but Valise on the goal. And this is now a 3-2 game. Goal coming with 3:02 remaining in the first quarter. It was Lucio setting up Valise. And for Valise, that might be his first goal. But a 3-2 game with still 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. 3-2 Minnesota.
Scoring for the Wichita Wings, number 12,
Arturo Valise on the goal. Lucio on the assist. Wichita, good job with the passing in tight quarters. Now Maldonado battling for possession, but Chrisman sticks with it. Lakin, oh, that one, Esteban might have gotten a toe on that to send it back toward keeper Echeverry. Maldonado collides with Lucio, and which way is this one going? Looks like it belongs to Wichita. And a quick restart. Kopany steps in front of Robbins to knock it away and racing down. Quick transition now for Wichita. Stride for stride with Lucio is Yang, and this is going to be a blue card on Yang and a power play opportunity here for Wichita, as Minnesota will send a player into that penalty box with 2:02 remaining in the first quarter, and Wichita will have the first man advantage here. It's Yang going into the box. Wichita on the power play is nearly 70% on the season. Now Minnesota was killing off a power play late in yesterday's game, and then Wichita was called for a penalty, so that kind of evened things up. But here it is, a power play chance. The closing minutes of the first quarter. Lucio sets it up for Henry. And then that shot sails high coming out of the left corner.
Penalty assessed for Minnesota Blizzard. Number 4, Diego Yang, a 2-minute penalty. The Wichita Wings are on the power play.
So 2-minute penalty. Didn't get the description of what the penalty was in this case, but 2 minutes. Kopany dealing with Valise, who scored the goal short time ago that made it a 3-2 game. Now Arreguin gets tied up with Lucio, and that'll be a foul against Lucio, so it's Minnesota. Free kick. 90 seconds to go in the quarter, and that roughly coincides with the power play time as well. There's just a second or two differential between the time to go in the quarter and the penalty time. Meanwhile, Minnesota might develop a chance out of this. Arreguin, can he get off a shot? It wasn't a strong one. Quick transition now with 1:15 still to go on the power play. And the power play would end before the quarter ends. But again, we're talking just a second and a half difference. Lakin to the corner. Lucio bangs it around the corner boards. It's fun to see how they can play the boards and the corners here in indoor soccer. It really is part of the strategy, certainly. 50 seconds. Henry to Lakin. Threads it through to Robbins. Taps it to the corner to Lucio. Players waiting back door if they can find a passing lane. Lakin, 35 seconds. Green fakes it, passes down low. There's a shot. That one just missed somehow. Ooh, big collision here. And we get the whistle, and the foul is against Wichita. Kopany slow to get back to his feet as we're down to 24 seconds, but Robbins will help him to his feet. Jared Robbins wearing number 25 in today's game. He was number 22 yesterday, one of the top scorers for Wichita. Orozco will start it, look for Arreguin. Tries to kind of tip it up to himself. Battles hard against Henry. 10 seconds to go. They've got a 4-on-1 developing here. Pass over. Lucio kind of hooked his shot. 4 seconds outside for Lakin with a drive. Kopany knocks it the other way. And just as, well, we knew there wouldn't be time. Coming out of the penalty box was Yang. He would have been in all alone, but knowing there was only 2 seconds between the penalty time And quarter time, it didn't seem too likely that he was going to be able to make that happen. What a great start to this one here. It is a 3-2 lead for Minnesota after one quarter. Check out Allery's downtown St. Paul for great food and a fun atmosphere. And Courtyard Marriott in Roseville, the official home for the Arena Blizzard team. We're back with the second quarter after this.
One, two, three, Blizzard!
When the lights go on, Game Time Media goes live.
The direction of Welker, he's got it.
From the booth to the baseline, this is how high school sports were meant to be experienced. Every shot, every game, and every moment turning your highlights into history. Trusted by the biggest names in Minnesota high school sports, Game Time Media is not just a broadcast, it's a time capsule. Your school, your story, your time. Game Time Media.
When you make it out to the Minnesota Blizzard games, you can cheer on, or who knows, maybe even participate in the Cornhole Challenge that they did here at the quarter break. They also have Blizzard Concentration with large playing cards that they bring out for prizes. They also do the Soccer 3-Shot Challenge for a chance at prizes. So some cool things that go on. Those were the two competitors in the Cornhole Challenge. I know one game they had a couple of adults out for the Cornhole Challenge. Sometimes kids, sometimes adults for concentration. I think it's always been kids for the 3-goal shootout. So we have a 3-2 lead for Minnesota as we move to the second 15-minute quarter. Minnesota will now go left to right in front of us. Minnesota in the light blue, powder blue, baby blue, however you want to call it, with the dark blue numbers. And Wichita in the black and orange. Wichita Wings. There's a steal that leads to a rush. And Lucio to Robbins, backdoor. He was there, Chrisman, but they didn't quite connect. Chrisman scored a goal in yesterday's game. Minnesota now in transition. Weller, who already has one tally. DeGrotto, the game winner last night, bangs it off the boards, but no one wearing the correct color there to make a play on it. And then Robbins returned the ball to Echeverry. That almost led to some challenging times for Wichita. DeGrotto getting the double team on him. He'll find Edegin. Orozco is ready to step up on this as well, but Nascimento will handle it from that kind of left wing before crossing with DeGrotto. Minute into the second quarter, 3-2 Minnesota. It was a one-goal game yesterday. Minnesota winning 6-5 for their first win. Had 2 wins last season in their opening season in the MASL2. Cleared around the corner boards, took a funny hop off that corner post, and there's a drive by DeGrotto, hits traffic in front, and then volleyed out of there by Robbins. Aragin ahead to Overturf, already a goal and an assist today. Weller banks it to Overturf. Collides with Green, almost Grabbed Green to stay, keep his balance, it seemed. Nascimento off the left post. Or maybe it was off that corner of the boards. But Nascimento misses by a half a foot. And this remains a 1-goal Minnesota lead. I want to say thanks to our quarter sponsors. They appear in the left-hand part of your screen. DeGrotto and Lakin come together. So be sure to thank those folks when you get the opportunity. Among our sponsors, Blizzard sponsors. My Credit Union, Allery's, Union 32, the Little Oven. Trying to center that one, didn't go. This is Robbins in on his own. Robbins, and getting back is Ortiz. Great job by Ortiz to get back and make it tough for Robbins. And now Ortiz will lead the charge the other direction. Ortiz, little fake, little deke. Esteban from the left corner. And batted out of the air on a volley by Ortiz. On the goal, Ortiz from Esteban, and Minnesota is back to a 2-goal lead. Ortiz scored yesterday, and Ortiz now has his 2nd goal of the season, and Esteban has a pretty assist, and Ortiz has an equally pretty goal. And here in the 2nd quarter, Minnesota goes up 4-2, 12:02 to go in the 2nd quarter. So about 3 minutes in. Ortiz on the goal. And Esteban on the assist. Good breakup by Ortiz. Boy, he's had quite the time out on the pitch right now, breaking up a play or two. Remember that Ortiz hustled back to keep Robbins from coming in clean. Mathies slips it over to Escobedo. Escobedo tried to pass it. Maldonado got his left calf on it to break that up. Now Minnesota in quick transition. Good pace to this game today. Nice curl to that pass that comes deep from Esteban, but Minnesota has to regroup. 11 minutes to go in the 2nd quarter. Maldonado directs traffic a little bit and drops it off to Orozco. Kopany, now Ortiz does it again! Kevin Ortiz with back-to-back tallies. And Minnesota ups its lead to 5-2. 10:57 remaining in the first half. So about 1:05 between Ortiz goals. He's got his 3rd of the season, 2nd of the night, 3rd of the weekend, and Minnesota 5-2 advantage here. As Wichita works it through the middle third. Here's a blast. Great save by Orozco. And Esteban gets the assist on the back-to-back goals as well. And off the top of the glass, out of play. Great save by Orozco a short time ago to keep Minnesota's lead and build a little momentum for him. Orozco has come well out there. You see him right there on your screen. So he's the goalkeeper for Minnesota across the half line. Ricochets back to Arreguin, and he'll tie in with Orozco. Back to Arreguin. Lost here. Here is a hustle back. Lucio 2-on-0 with Robbins. He waits, he passes, he shoots, he scores. 2-on-0. 2-on-0 Lucio to Robbins. And Wichita slows down the momentum, to say the least. And really nothing that Orozco could do about that with those two coming down 2-on-0. Wichita ends a series of back-to-back Minnesota goals. And this is now a 5-3 game.
Scoring for the Wichita Wings, number 25, Jared Robbins.
Robbins.
Assisted by number 11, David Lucio.
Lucio on the assist. Had a couple of assists yesterday. Lucio has 2 assists today. It's 5-3. That goal came with 10:09 to go, less than a second quarter, less than a minute after Minnesota had jumped out to a 5-3 lead. Long pass ahead, looking at a 2-on-1, but Henry had to get the ball kind of under his control. Then Escobedo puts it on, and Orozco drops to his knees to grab it. 9.5 to go in the first half. And over turf. Back to him from Moreno. Then right in front, DeGrotto slams it home, and Minnesota is back to its 3-goal advantage. DeGrotto with the team leading 11th goal of the season. Goal coming, 9:13 to go, less than a minute after Wichita scored here in the second quarter. DeGrotto bangs it in for his 11th goal of the season, and Minnesota is back up by 3. That's their biggest lead of today's game. Yesterday's game was 1 goal, no more than a 1-goal difference at any point. Today, Minnesota getting a little bit more opportunity. Weller on the assist, by the way. Weller on the assist. And then Esteban nearly had a free chance at the other end, but Echeverry came out to cut that down. Goal coming, 9:13 remaining, second quarter. Clock now down to 8:35 to go, second quarter, 6-3, Blizzard. Echeverry lobs it long for Robbins. It was tipped off the hand of Orozco while he was still in the goalie box, and then kicked it ahead. Maldonado gets knocked down. The whistle will go as a foul against Wichita. It'll be Minnesota ball to put into play right in front of the score table penalty box area. Right up the middle is Orozco. Drives it, a redirect comes out. Esteban, left-footed drive. He hit his own man. Moreno got in the way of that. We did see the keeper in the game against the Raptors a couple of weeks ago. The Minnesota keeper, Olivo, scored a goal. And certainly Orozco has that ability to as well. That was a hard collision into the corner boards. This call is going to go against Wichita. No, I'm sorry, against Minnesota. Against Minnesota. The 2 players who slammed hard into that corner, Maldonado and I think it was Henry. They do give each other a high five, so some good sportsmanship shown there as 2 players just battling hard for the ball. And that is stopped by Orozco with the player cutting in from the right side, Lakin. 7.5 to go in the second quarter. Moreno guides it ahead to Maldonado. Maldonado had a goal yesterday. Quick work over to his left, kind of going in the opposite direction, means Minnesota will reset out around the middle. That was Taliz that was hustling in on the left side. Bang toward the middle there, out of the corner by Garcia. And Henry taps it back, but what's the call here? The call is against Minnesota. Down to Robbins. Set it up for Lucio. Shot, goes off the inner right thigh of Orozco. Makes the nice stop. Here's a no-look pass to his left, looking for Tellez. Who got kind of tangled up there. Collision there, no whistle. Wichita coming ahead, a little walk-through dribble. Now it is Mathis that, it's Robbins. Robbins sends it wide left, and it ricochets right along that corner area of the goal out of play. And it does bring a whistle and a buzzer as we hit our mandatory break here midway through, a little more than midway through the second quarter, with Minnesota leading 6-3. Second quarter action here from the Centennial Sports Arena on Jersey night for the Minnesota Blizzard. The Little Oven, affordable and fresh Italian food in St. Paul. Toca Soccer in Burnsville. Come join a youth or adult indoor league or get custom training by their trainers, the official practice spot for the Minnesota Blizzard. So Minnesota Blizzard has a team in the NPSL, National Premier Soccer League, a summer league, but they will be playing in the U.S. Amateur Cup against Valora FC on Saturday, April 4th, 8 p.m. at McMurray Field in St. Paul. The Amateur Cup is what that is all about, the U.S. Amateur Cup. Saturday, April 4th, get to McMurray Field in St. Paul. Take a look at the Minnesota Blizzard FC Facebook page for more details and news about what's happening for your Minnesota Blizzard. Minnesota has not trailed in the game today. We were tied at 1, and that's been the only tie. Tied at 1. Minnesota then scored the next 2. Wichita scored to pull within 3-2. Minnesota reeled off 2 more. Wichita pulled within 5-3. And then Minnesota DeGrotto scored to make it a 6-3 lead. That's where we stand with 6:38 to go in the second quarter. Full huddle, by the way, that group of Wichita Wings you see standing there, that's the full team. They have 12 players on today's roster, down 1 from yesterday. So stamina could be catching up with them a little bit. They certainly played toe-to-toe with the full rostered Blizzard yesterday. Minnesota won 6-5. But less than 24 hours, 2 games for a short roster in the case of Wichita, and Minnesota has certainly converted their plays today, 6-3 with the Blizzard lead. Bit of contact on Ortiz, but he fights through that. Ortiz back-to-back goals before DeGrotto. Robbins actually scored for Wichita, and then DeGrotto for Minnesota since Ortiz went back-to-back from Esteban each time. Ortiz in close. Ortiz sets it up. Weller puts it in goal! So this time Ortiz sets up the marker. Weller pounds it home from point-blank range, his second goal of the game and 8th goal of the season. And Minnesota now has its biggest lead of the game at 4, 7-3 with 6:15 remaining in the first half. Ortiz, 2 goals and an assist. Weller, who has 2 goals and an assist as well in today's game. Weller had a goal yesterday in the 6-5 win. And right now, Minnesota is up 7-3 with about 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. Win, save. Ortiz on the assist of the Weller goal. Working with it in the corner was Watkinson. Found an outlet. Now Maldonado steps in front of a pass. Nascimento give it right back to him. Garcia flicks it to Nascimento. Puts on the brakes. Good pass. Maldonado will toss it out to Kopany, and they'll set up from there. 5.5 to go in the second quarter. Steal by Wynn as he battles against Esteban and came up with the steal. So now Wichita with their possession. Lucio drops that one back. Wynn right into Esteban. But Wynn able to scramble back to the ball and not give up a break to Esteban. Maldonado gets to the ball. Maldonado, a little roll off the ball of his foot behind himself. Nascimento is over there, now Kopany. Maldonado. They'll give and go back to him, and then left-footed puts it high. Good look, good opportunity, good try. It was Garcia who got the give-and-go pass back to him, but sends it high. Green back onto the pitch. Henry back onto the pitch, excuse me, Henry. And then he and DeGrotto roll up on one another. It'll be a foul against DeGrotto. Ball belongs to Wichita with 4.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. 7-3 Minnesota. Up to Robbins. Robbins shakes off the defender. DeGrotto comes up with the steal. Rolls it over to Esteban. Left-footed drives, a save, the rebound, another save. Oh, and then it goes off the left toe of Echeverry. That is the saves of the game by Echeverry. Bang, bang plays, stopped them both. And really, Esteban's initial shot might have been for the rebound and the opportunity right there for DeGrotto, but Echeverry had the answer to that. Now rushing the other way, Lucio. He's got a player backdoor. Kopany won't let that happen. DeGrotto, no. Yes, he does. DeGrotto is Kopany trailing. DeGrotto drive off the near board, about 2 feet wide. DeGrotto looking for the cutter. Instead, he bangs it off the boards. Esteban, and that one sailed on him. And this will be a restart for Wichita with 3:33 to go in the second quarter. 7-3 Minnesota. Blizzard are home on the 11th. That's a Saturday, 7 p.m. against the Raptors. And then on Sunday, April 12th, they'll have the Demon Hawks here at the Centennial Sports Arena. Lakin, now Moreno gets to it, quickly clears it the other direction, past Weller, however. And then Lakin drops it on back to Henry. Echeverry will lead this. Move up the pitch. Esteban breaks things up from Escobedo. Lakin hooks that to Veliz. Minnesota really forcing the issue, and this is going to be a foul against Moreno, apparently. Robbins checks back in for Wichita after taking a breather. Lucio goes into the corner, trying to find Robbins out front, but just too much traffic. Moreno clears that into the official, and a lot of times they're going to blow that dead when the ball hits the official. And they'll do this as a restart for Minnesota. With, And then Moreno didn't want to give the ball away too quickly because he didn't have his guys in position yet. He did some violation that turned the ball back over to Wichita. I don't know if he started it before the official blew the whistle. I'm not sure what the call was. All I know is it's Wichita ball. And Minnesota delayed things just a little bit to make sure players were in position. Moreno needs to back up a little bit on this free kick. Lucio will take the free kick. 2:41 to go second quarter. Minnesota by 4. Now a two-man wall. And deflected back to the sideboards. Henry tips it out to Lakin. Lakin works it up the left flank for Veliz. Shot right into the hands of Orozco. Esteban. Esteban continues, shoots, diving play. That was wide left anyway, but Echeverry was there. Trying to hook it out to Moreno. Good pass. Moreno trying to line up his shot. He'll get to Arreguin. Arreguin sends that high and out of play. A restart now for Wichita with under 2 minutes to go in the second quarter. Echeverry takes the lead pass. Lucio is there in the corner. Diving play. Orozco starts it with a long throw to Esteban. Could be a 2-on-1 with DeGrotto. Slips. No, the pass broken up by Henry. DeGrotto was coming up on that left wing. Esteban volleys it out to Kopany. Kopany. Esteban fakes with the left foot, flicks it out to Ortiz. Again, it's Esteban. 1:10 to go in the second quarter. Shoved off the play. Mathis fired it down the pitch, but Kopany gets there, and he will toss it to his keeper, who has to hurry. Mathis forcing the issue. Ortiz backtracks over to Kopany now. 45 seconds to go in the second quarter. DeGrotto through the corner, slowed down by Lakin. 35 seconds to go in the quarter. Robbins with Kopany. Mathis clears it to open space. And actually that's Chrisman. That's Chrisman racing ahead on it. Up to Esteban. And Esteban up the middle. They come in 4 wide. Esteban shot blocked by Lakin. Chrisman there. Nope, let it go by. Lucio picks it up. 5 seconds. Lucio shot wide, and that rattles out of play with 2 seconds to go in the second quarter. And it'll just be rolled over, and 2 seconds, just have to go through the formality of finishing up on that. But Minnesota is heading into the halftime with a 7-3 lead. In that second quarter, let's see, after the first quarter, where were we at? 1, 2, it was 3-2 after 1. And here in the second quarter, Minnesota has outscored Wichita 4-1 for a 7-3 lead. We get to recap on the first half of play here from the Centennial Sports Arena when we return. GameTimeMN.com with Minnesota Blizzard Soccer, and you'll be able to catch the tail end of the Blizzard concentration along with our scoring recap after these messages.
When the lights go on, Game Time Media goes live.
In the direction of Welter, he's got it.
From the booth to the baseline, this is how high school sports were meant to be experienced. Every shot, every game, and every moment turning your highlights into history. Trusted by the biggest names in Minnesota high school sports, Game Time Media is not just a broadcast, it's a time capsule. Your school, your story, your time. Game Time Media.
Blizzard concentration with a couple of youngsters out here. One of the regular games that they play for indoor Blizzard soccer. Oh, looks like you got a match. Gavin doing well, and the Blizzard doing well. They lead 7-3 here at the half. Overturf got this game rolling right away, just over a minute in, put Minnesota up 1-0. Henry squared it up about 3 minutes later, and it was 1-1. Minnesota scored back-to-back goals. Weller from Overturf with 7:29 to go in the first, and Esteban all alone with 5:06 to go in the first. There were some highlight kind of real plays made as well, some volleys out of the air and other very sharp goals in this game. So that gave Minnesota a 3-1 lead, but before the first quarter was over, Veliz punched one in on the back door from a great pass from Lucio, and at the break, it was 3-2. In the second quarter, 3 minutes in, Ortiz from Esteban, and then reset and do it again. A minute 5 later, Ortiz from Esteban, and Minnesota's lead had grown to 5-2. Wichita, less than a minute later, got a 2-0 to the other end, and Robbins tapped it in off the pass from Lucio. Nothing that Orozco could do about it. 2-0. Robbins scored. That made the score 5-3. About a minute later, Minnesota answered with DeGrotto from Weller on a great setup. That made the score 6-3. And finally, 7-3 with the goal by Weller from Ortiz with 6:15 to go in the second quarter. Neither team has scored since then. 7-3, the Minnesota lead over Wichita. One penalty in the first half. It was called against Minnesota's Yang. No goal on the power play for Wichita. And Minnesota has not had an X-Hydration-sponsored power play yet, but there's time to go. And there you've got a winner of a gift certificate that's pretty pumped about it. Minnesota with the 7-3 lead, but a lot of soccer yet to go. Union 32 Bar, Restaurant in Eagan. Head there for great happy hour deals. You may see Blizzard players there too. And Schmitty & Sons Transportation, the official transportation partner of the Blizzard. They took the team to all those road games. You can book them for your next coach trip. Schmitty & Sons Transportation. Minnesota will be playing the remainder of their home games, the remainder of their games at home. There are 2 left after today, April 11th against the Raptors and April 12th against the Demon Hawks. We are at the half. It is 7-3 Minnesota. I'll be back with the third quarter shortly. 7-3 lead for Minnesota entering the second half of play from Centennial Arena in Circle Pines, Minnesota. And that's where we will be on April 11th and 12th when Minnesota plays their final 2 games of the season, hosting the Raptors on the 11th at 7 p.m. and on April 12th, the Demon Hawks at 5 p.m. to wrap up on season number 2 of Blizzard Soccer in MASL2. Ortiz 2 goals and an assist. Weller 2 goals and an assist for Minnesota. Overturf started off the game hot with a goal and an assist out of the first 2 Minnesota goals. Lucio has had a very nice game for Wichita with 2 assists. Couple of seconds until the start of the third quarter. "15-minute quarters, 4 quarters, MASL2 soccer. Minnesota will go right to left. Wichita appears to be starting with the ball as Robbins hovers above it. And Wichita will move left to right across your screen, dressed in the black and orange. Minnesota in the light blue. Here we go. Half number 2 is underway. Minnesota trying to get a streak going after winning their first for the first time last night, 6-5 over this Wichita team. And now on the return, second half of the back-to-back doubleheader. Henry works on it with DeGrotto, a little bit too pushy. Brief discussion between the player and the official from all the way across the pitch. Henry to Robbins, rolls it back. Nice play kind of cutting behind him for Henry. Back to Echeverry. Looks for Robbins, and Aragon gets tied up with him. Robbins pulls free a little bit, and we did get a whistle, so it's a free kick coming here for Wichita from right straight on. DeGrotto and Nascimento will line up in the 2-player wall. And it is Taylor Henry. Taps it, the drive, the diving save by Orozco. Lakin uncorked the shot from the right side, but Orozco got down to it to knock it away on the dive. 1 minute into the third quarter. Robbins. Weller clears it. Tipped at now DeGrotto and Nascimento. Nascimento gets bumped down. Ball comes off of him. Now it's out to Lucio, and this call is against Wichita. Waited for the play to carry on a little bit to see how it would develop, as Minnesota did have the advantage at the time the foul happened, and now Minnesota gets a free kick. And it might be Ortiz to take it. Racing on, setting up on the back door. Ortiz looking to take the shot. He'll pass, and Kopany got a little too much underneath that one. Sent that one well out of play. Garcia is out there with Esteban. Ortiz, Kopany, and Maldonado for Minnesota. Wichita gets it ahead to Escobedo. He's got Lakin behind him. Mathis is one of the forwards. Oops. Off the upper body of Kopany and a diving save off of his own guy made by Orozco. Ball knocked down, Chrisman on the attack, and you've also got Watkinson out there. Mathies is back here in the middle, marking up on Ortiz. Esteban, quick look over his shoulder, sees what's behind him. He'll go right back to Kopany. And Orozco will walk up with this one. Looking for Ortiz, and that's as close as we've gotten to a souvenir here on the broadcast booth as the ball kicks around on the walkway behind us. As close as we've had to our own souvenir, although one of the souvenir balls after a goal almost came up to us one day, which we would have deferred and dropped to a kid below us. So free kick opportunity for Garcia. Garcia flips it. Esteban, boy, again, got underneath it just as Kopany did a minute ago. Under 12 and a half to go in the third quarter. And the restart opportunity here is, the wrong person gave the ball to the keeper. Now we go. Now we start. Got to have the correct official follow proper protocol. Echeverry drives this all the way down, banks it off. The header by Robbins, good plan. Orozco made the play and rolls it over to Kopany. That one slipped under Ortiz's feet. Watkinson knocks it away. Little blind pass by Robbins, taken away by Minnesota. 3 minutes into the third quarter. Watkinson, Robbins, a redirect is wide. And he shrugs his shoulders afterward. Gave it a good go, and Kopany gets tripped up at midfield. I think Kopany's okay. Slow to get back to his feet. I think he's all right, but he's slow to get back to his feet. And I never saw a blue card come out. They have the penalty box door open. I never saw a blue card come out, so I don't believe that we have an infraction. Kopany will head off the pitch. And DeGrotto will be the player to resume. And we actually do have a penalty, though. I never saw the blue card. 11:44 to go. Veliz. Reckless play is the call on that collision there at midfield. And the board as number 31, which will be Watkinson, as the penalty is assessed on him. And an ex-hydration power play goal for Esteban. So Minnesota converts quickly on the power play. That only took 24 seconds. There's 11:20 to go in the third quarter. And Esteban has his second goal of the game, his 10th goal of the season, his 4th point on the night, and Minnesota now leads 8-3. A couple of youngsters negotiating about the souvenir soccer balls that a whole bunch of fans are going home with today, with an 8-3 lead for Minnesota here in the third quarter with 11:20 to go. Esteban on the goal. Over turf. Now Yang off the inside of the post. Now racing the other way, Lucio. 1-on. Oh, goal by Lucio. And a quick answer by Wichita. 10:51, so about 30 seconds after the Esteban goal with the assist by Overturf. See, that was on the power play, the ex-hydration Minnesota power play. But now the goal by Wichita for Lucio. That is his first goal of the night. It might be his 5th goal of the season, if I've got that right. He also has a couple of assists in today's game, had a couple of assists yesterday. Lucio, unassisted is the call on that. Maldonado got a piece of it, and then it's batted in by Mathis. Mathis on the goal, 2nd consecutive game for him. And Wichita on back-to-back goals has made this a little more interesting. 16 seconds between goals for Wichita.
Scoring for the Wichita Wings, number 24, Eric Mathis, an unassisted goal.
Mathis unassisted. And it is 8-5 Minnesota. Kopany blast save by Echeverry. And Wichita comes out of traffic. Maldonado switches direction. Garcia comes rink wide, if you will, to Esteban. Backdoor, still active and fielded and caught by Echeverry. Under 10 minutes to play, 3rd quarter. And a game that's turned a little more interesting on back-to-back goals by Wichita in short order. Centered for Ortiz. Wide. The goalie had a backup behind him as well, the goalkeeper did. Transition, Chrisman gets it ahead for Henry. Henry has it poked away by Maldonado. Then he and Chrisman duel to the corner, or to the sidewall boards. And Wichita's Henry gets possession for his club. Esteban tried to step into Lucio. He and Maldonado collide. Play will carry on, 2-on-1. Maldonado tried to pass it across, and instead Henry gets the intercept, as Minnesota's players may have been too close heading up the pitch. Kopany now on the foul, and the ball will belong to Wichita with under 9 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter of an 8-5 game. Did they start play too? They started play too quickly, maybe, so they'll reset it. There we go. Lakin kind of looking for his options. Lakin gives it up to Lucio. Echeverry pretty far down the pitch. Here he is. He's the goalkeeper. Echeverry with a drive. It goes off the post. Now at the other end, there's no keeper, and it looked like Weller might have been trying to line up a shot, but I don't know if he quite had what he wanted. Weller now handles it with 8 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Nascimento off the dashers, not enough on it to catch up to DeGrotto, turned over to Lucio. He swings it for Robbins and drives it high. Both teams have had a little bit of air underneath some of those good looks as we get the mandatory timeout with just under 8 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. Lakeville Brewing Company, check out their 3 locations in the South Metro, including their summer spot on Lake Marion. My Credit Union. They can handle all your banking needs like they do for the Blizzard. Have your kids sign up for the Honeybee Club and start saving for their future. After yesterday's games in the Midwest Division, with Minnesota beating Wichita 6-5 and the Demon Hawks downing the Raptors in the battle for the Hawkeye State, it's a 9-1 win for the Demon Hawks over the Raptors. Midwest Division, Demon Hawks are now 10-0. They've got their game today against the Raptors, and then they come here on April 12th. 10-0 on the season, however, with a very big goal differential in their favor. It is a plus 64 goal differential for the Demon Hawks, as they're hoping to take some momentum into the playoffs. Of course, the Blizzard will be looking for a big old upset come April 12th Iowa Raptors are second place in the division at 6-4, 15 points. Wichita Wings at 4-4-2 for 14 points. Omaha 4-6-1, that's good for 13 points. And the Minnesota Blizzard at 1-8, good for 3 points in the 5-team Midwest Division of the Major Arena Soccer League 2. 9th season of the MASL2. Second season for the Minnesota Blizzard. Wichita has been around for quite some time. They were second place in their division last season, did not play in the same division as Minnesota. Won the division 2 seasons ago as Lucia sends it wide. And then Mathis gets underneath it. That one might be going into the parking lot. That one is high and up over the netting that is behind that end of the rink as well. Restart for Minnesota. Throw for Arreguin. Got players down there with him, slips it to Weller. Weller, shot to Grotto, save, and then Echeverry comes up with it. Right place at the right time to get his foot on it. Pressured right away by Weller. DeGrotto will come over as a double team, battling against Henry. A lot of hand checking going on there. DeGrotto comes out of there with the ball, slips it through. What a play, what a save, denying Weller at point blank range. Echeverry with a huge stop. Now Robbins tips it, flying ahead. And then he'll circle wide. That's Phil Wynn. A lot of communication going on the pitch. Dropping down, save is made, but there's a foul against Minnesota, it would appear. Foul against Overturf. He'll plead his case, but that doesn't usually net you much. And it'll be a free kick coming up for Wichita with 6:45 to go in the third quarter. They are within 3 at 8-5. Getting that wall set up at the right distance back. Lakin, what a save! A day after Superhero Day, a Superman save, dive to his left by Orozco to knock that ball out of play on a great setup by the Wings as they try to crawl to within a pair of goals. So this is a corner opportunity for Wichita. And Robbins, oh my goodness, Kopany took that off the back and you can see him wincing. He's still wincing after that blast off of his back and then heads the ball high in the air and then heading the ball out of play. Robbins, it'll be a Minnesota free kick. .6:15 to go in the third quarter. Maldonado. Back to Ortiz. Chrisman forcing the issue. And a whistle and a foul against Wichita. Ortiz to Esteban. Both of them have had some awfully nice goals today. Good little play, nifty play by Esteban. And then finally Lakin says, I'm just going to muscle you off of the ball. Back to him from Lucio. Esteban, as Lakin fires it down to his keeper, Echeverry. Threads that pass up to Robbins, broken up by Kopany. Yang, I said Ortiz, Yang is the player who's out there. No, as both Yang, I didn't realize Yang was wearing the headband. I thought that was just Ortiz, but Yang is the one wearing the headband as well. And Yang with Chrisman coming through the middle. Turned over to Lucio, trying to split the defense. Bangs it off the dasher board, but there's no one for his team to play that in front of the Minnesota goal. 5 minutes to go, third quarter. 8-5 Blizzard. Blizzard attack by Maldonado, gets in close. Little flick goes wide off of the right toe. Esteban, give and go. Wynn defenses him, marks him up well as Esteban was trying to get back to that ball. Lucio broken up by Ergin. Tempo is pretty high considering how much these guys have played in the last day and a half, or last day, not even full day yet. Last night's game started at 7. DeGrotto muscling for position, stepping over there is Mathis. He's double teamed in the corner. Ergin can't quite work with it, and Nascimento. Maldonado up for Esteban. Esteban, left-footed drive is just wide. Tip back to Ergin. And his drive from distance is off. Rebound try is sent high by DeGrotto. Just under 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. 8-5 Minnesota. Lakin back over to his keeper. Looking for Robbins. That comes wide, and Orozco will play it. It deflects off and is reclaimed by Escobedo for his club. Tosses it over to Henry. Robbins, Henry, and that shot is blocked out of play. Right to the arena staff. Wichita gets the free kick to restart. Blast, goal from a tough angle by Lucio. That was just a very good soccer play by Lucio, and back-to-back-to-back goals has pulled Wichita within 8-6. At one point it was 8-3. 3:24 to go in the third quarter, and Wichita is taking a run at the Minnesota Blizzard. And Lucio has his second goal of the game, 5th of the season.
Number 11, David Lucio,
Unassisted. And we are at 8-6. Chrisman, instead of passing, he'll dribble through, get the pass then over to Green from Mathis. Henry, that is, Henry. Here's Lucio, who just scored. Esteban knocks it away. The ball is picked up by, this is Ortiz. Ortiz comes in and dribbles and fakes and dekes, and Esteban, can't get the shot pulled and double team down. Okay, I think this is, it's going to be Minnesota ball. There's a foul on Wichita. See where they set this up. Free kick right from the middle, smack dab in the middle. 2:38, third quarter remaining, 2:38. Just verifying the placement of the ball. Kopany, Esteban, Ortiz in the corner, or Garcia, I think that was, and then the shot from the left corner by Ortiz sails. But it was Garcia over in that right corner. He'll head off now for DeGrotto, switching up players. Coach Chad Hendricks. LeBaron Holloman, a Wichita native, as the coach for the Wings. Escobedo redirects that one to Valiz. 2:15 to go, third quarter. Lakin directing traffic. Henry with Esteban on him, and Lakin pushes it back for Escobedo. Minnesota's getting a free kick from the dot, the free kick spot. Or maybe, okay, they're going to put it wide. Free kick here for Minnesota. DeGrotto appears to be the one who will kick it. Under 2 minutes to go, third quarter. Over to Kopany, saved out of play. Good try by Kopany, though, putting it on target. Now, do we have an official timeout? I just saw one of the officials indicate, or have they lost all of the soccer balls? Okay, so it's an official timeout in the sense that they've lost all the soccer balls. Well, there's one. Right there on your camera. Can the arena guy get it? There we go. And a couple other folks are going to go to the other end of the building and see about retrieving a couple of balls over in that corner as well. Might have a little short timeout here as they try and get a couple more balls active so that there won't be any delay next time a ball goes out of play. It's been a wild one today. Minnesota led 1-0 quickly. Wichita tied it up. Minnesota has been ahead most of the way. The lead got as big as 8-3. But now with 3 consecutive goals, Wichita has closed to within 8-6. And there is still almost 2 minutes left of the third quarter and a full fourth quarter to go. So this game is still anybody's ball game here this afternoon at the Centennial Sports Arena in Circle Pines, Minnesota. North Twin Cities Metro. Summer team has its home in Lakeville on the South Metro, but the Blizzard indoor team played at Warner Coliseum at the State Fairgrounds last year. That's under renovation this season. So Minnesota plays their games here at Centennial as it works out. Centennial Sports Arena. Up to DeGrotto. DeGrotto and Henry duel. Henry wins that one. And Lucio to Lakin. Henry swings it over with 1:15 to play in the third. And that is a soccer ball that is out of play, but not out of reach. Minnesota will change up, I think, all 5 of their players on this whistle. Nascimento is out there. I think that's Weller up front. Garcia over to Aragon and over turf on the back end. Under a minute. Here's a chance for Weller, but the ball had a little too much bounce to it. Nascimento to Aragon, and that one is stopped. I think Lakin slid over to make a play on it. Overturf bangs it into the penalty area where it is corralled and grabbed by Echeverry. 40 seconds to go in the third. I think that's Lucio on the Sunday stroll up the pitch. Lakin. Back to Lakin from Echeverry. Lucio trying to race by Garcia. Tried to use the corner to get it out front for Robbins. Robbins puts it toward the goal, and it appeared that Orozco got a piece of it as the quarter comes to an end with Wichita threatening. But Minnesota will take an 8-6 lead into the fourth quarter. We're back for it on GameTimeMN.com. Game Time Media coverage of the Minnesota Blizzard MASL2 indoor soccer. Fourth quarter is coming up next.
When the lights go on, Game Time Media goes
In the
live.
direction of Welter, he's got it.
From the booth to the baseline, this is how high school sports were meant to be experienced. Every shot, every game, and every moment turning your highlights into history. Trusted by the biggest names in Minnesota high school sports, Game Time Media is not just a broadcast, it's a time capsule. Your school, your story, your time. Game Time Media.
There goes Spencer. He was the winner of a jersey during the three kick challenge. And here comes Spencer. Coming on back. It's fun contests that go on here at Blizzard Games, indoor soccer back in the Twin Cities. Chad Hendricks, the owner of the Blizzard, big fan of the kicks back in the day, and happy to have indoor soccer as part of Minnesota's sports opportunities. We've got a crowd enjoying it here today, and we had a great crowd on hand yesterday. We got a whistle. Ball's going to belong to Wichita out of this. Got the same keepers in on each end. Orozco is down to my left. That's the Minnesota defensive side. Whoops, they didn't like that restart. Nope. That doesn't count. And over at the other end is Echeverry. Echeverry made the save of the day on back-to-back scoring opportunities for Minnesota. Must have been in the second quarter, I think that happened. So Echeverry has put together a nice game, and his team is backing him up here by pulling back within 8-6 in the opening seconds of the fourth quarter. Just underway fourth quarter, still inside the opening minute of the fourth quarter. Echeverry with a redirection attempt in front by Robbins. And then head to Nascimento. He won't be able to get a shot off before the keeper gets back into position, though. Lucio chips it. Weller to the ball. He'll roll it out to Arreguin. Oh, nice little deke there to get in on it, and a shot bangs off the Dashers. Over turf hustles to it. Actually, three players were converging. Tackle play by Arreguin. And what do we have for the call here? Foul against Wichita. Not quite a minute into the fourth quarter. And this is a drop. Trying to split the defense was DeGrotto. Lucio gets it going the other way. Tips it. Blasts it off the Dashers, and then Wynn sends it offline. And it'll be a Minnesota restart. Turn that over on the throw. Over turf, sneaks between the legs to tip it to Esteban, who then leads over turf into the corner. Watkinson battles along with Valise. And then Ortiz tries to center it. Trying to lead it to Mathis. My goodness. They slam hard. Now those boards, as you see, they do have a little bit of give to them. The sideboards don't have as much give as that. But Wichita definitely ramping up the pressure here. Watkinson swings it over to Valise. Valise, real tough angle. And you've got Ortiz on Watkinson. Wichita rolls it out to Lakin. Back to Lakin, shot blocked. I think that Overturf had a hand in that. I think it might have deflected off of Spencer Overturf. Esteban with a little 360 dipsy-do to keep it away from Lakin. Aragon drives it down the pitch. Escobedo battles against Maldonado. Maldonado, and then it's open shot goal for Jared Garcia. Set yourself up in front of the goal in a situation like that, and a goal you shall receive. 9-6 Minnesota on the Garcia goal with 12:23. Needed a ladder to get to that souvenir soccer ball. With 12:23 to go in the fourth, Minnesota a little breathing room, but still 12 and a half minutes, and a 3-goal difference is by no means a secure lead. 9-6 Minnesota. First goal of the season for Garcia. Whistle against Maldonado. Maldonado on the assist. Coaches are curious about that foul call. It will be Wichita ball. 12-12 to go in the fourth. Delay there. Okay. A delay of game warning assessed to the Minnesota Blizzard. Here's a drive by Lucio, the save. He took that one upper body almost off the side of his head, it looked like, for Orozco. Wichita, even though they're, look at this. Look at that rush by Escobedo. Robbins on his own, but the ball was a little bit in front of him. Otherwise, Robbins might have had a clear path on a 1-on-0. Robbins tumbles down. No whistle pending, and Minnesota guides it out. DeGrado along with Kopany. Kopany, DeGrado, backdoor goal! I was focused on the two guys on the left side, and then you had coming up the right wing side. To punch that in is Weller. Weller on his hat trick goal. And Minnesota now leads this 10-6. 11:22 to go in the fourth quarter. That's Weller with the Hattie and his 9th of the season. And I think it was DeGrado who fed him the ball. Minnesota 10-6. Logan Weller on the goal. And DeGrado on the assist. DeGrado team leader in points. And adding to that, he also had a goal earlier on in this game. In fact, he got a goal assisted by Weller. Now he assists Weller on his hat trick goal. And here comes Minnesota streaking ahead. Garcia, the save. The ball still loose, poked out of there. The goal, by the way, came with 11:22 to go in the fourth. Clock is down to 10:40 to go in the fourth. This, by the way, is the highest scoring game for Minnesota this season. In fact, their previous high had been 7 goals. So they've achieved, surpassed their high goal watermark quite a while ago. Opportunity right here at the other end. Escobedo denied by Orozco. Transition, here's Ortiz. Over turf with him. And that one into the corner. Over turf, tries to volley it. And it is deflected up into the crowd, into the bleacher seats here at Centennial Sports Arena. Down to 10 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Escobedo. Esteban, excuse me. He deflects it in. Esteban scores. Knocking it off the keeper, it appeared. Esteban on the goal. And that is his Hattie for the day. 11 goals on the season now. as Minnesota extends its lead to 11-6. Francesco Esteban on the goal, coming with 9:51 to go in the fourth quarter.
Blizzard goal! Scoring his second goal of the game, number 10, Devin DeGrotto.
Oh, DeGrotto tipped it?
Assisted by number 7, Francesco Esteban.
My apologies on that. I blinked for a minute and missed the actual execution on the end of that play. DeGrotto on the goal. DeGrotto on the goal. And Esteban on the assist. And for DeGrotto, as a nice sliding play by Lakin, another sliding tackle by Lakin. Play will carry on. Aggressive tackle, but no foul on the situation. DeGrotto with his second goal of the game. We have a blue card that Minnesota will have a player going into the penalty box. All right, DeGrotto, his second goal of the game, 12th on the season. And Kopany is into the box. Fourth quarter, 9:03 to go. Power play, second of the game for Wichita. 11-6 Minnesota. 9 minutes. Two-minute penalty up on the board on Kopany. Discussion seems to be over around the player benches. And Wichita will have the power play for a second time in the game. They did score. I take that back. So a power play. They are 0 for 1 on the power play. It's Minnesota who has a power play goal. 0 for 1 for Wichita. On the season, however, they are nearly 70%. As you can see, the goalkeeper is in on it as well. They're desperate for goals. There it is. Robbins scores. Robbins puts it in. So that is a power play goal. And Wichita within 11-7 with 8:37 to go in the fourth. Minnesota has never trailed today. Wichita has been hard to shake off, though, and with a 4-goal differential, there's still more than 8.5 minutes to go. 8:37, time of the goal on the power play for Wichita. Robbins' 7th goal of the season.
For the Wichita Wings, number 25, Jared Robbins, assisted by number 13, Taylor Henry.
And Henry on the assist. Over turf, backdoor, shot off the inside of the post. DeGrotto blocked by Wynn. Back to Orozco. Wow, that one came up like a bullet into the crowd. Banked off the wall near a couple of fans who are standing. And a quick restart for Minnesota. 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Whistle comes against Minnesota. And the free kick for Wichita from the half line. Of course, the power play goal means both teams are at full strength. Goalkeeper right on the fringe of stepping up in the action for Wichita, who's trying to make up a 4-goal difference in the final 7:40 of this one. And this is all the way up to Echeverry, in fact. He puts it on. And saved by Orozco, who's going to throw this one deep down the pitch. Trying to get it to DeGrotto and an opportunity to score maybe before the keeper is back in position. Weller feeds. DeGrotto banks it in. Goal! DeGrotto from Weller. Meanwhile, is that Robbins? No, it's not Robbins. It's down. Oh, that one banks into the crowd. Different player that is down, slow to get back to his feet. Might be Lakin. It could be he's just tired. 12-7 Minnesota, 7:20 to go in the fourth quarter. And we hit our mandatory timeout.
Sponsored by Schmitty and Sons Transportation.
DeGrotto on the goal, and that would be his third of the game, so give DeGrotto a hat trick. And that is goal number 13 on the season for him. Union 32 Bar Restaurant in Eagan. Head there for great happy hour deals, and you may see Blizzard players there as well. Toka Soccer in Burnsville. Come join a youth or adult indoor league or get custom training by their trainers, the official practice spot for the Blizzard. And Courtyard Marriott in Roseville, the official hotel for the Arena Blizzard team. Jersey night here at Centennial Sports Arena. Be sure to watch the Minnesota Blizzard Facebook page for the announcement on what other fun theme nights they'll have and other notes leading into those games on the 11th and 12th of April. And remember, there's a game on the 4th for the summer NPSL team. The Blizzard will be playing Valora FC over at McMurray Field in St. Paul. Find out more details on that on the Blizzard Facebook page as well. But games back here at Centennial Sports Arena on the 11th and 12th of April. 7:20 to go in this one. And just as Wichita gains a little bit of momentum, as they did with the 3 back-to-back-to-back goals in the third quarter, Minnesota comes out strong in the fourth quarter and scores 3 straight, only to see Wichita score. But about a minute and 15 seconds later, DeGrotto scores from Weller, and Minnesota is up to a 4-goal lead once again. Or 5-goal lead, excuse me. 5-goal lead at 12-7. Highest scoring game of the season for the Blizzard as they look for their second consecutive win. Here comes the announcement on the goal. Hat trick goal for DeGrotto. To the middle, broken up by Esteban. Maldonado comes up the pitch, centers it for Kopany. And what happened there? The ball belongs to Minnesota. I'm not sure what the foul was on Wichita. Might have been something up the pitch. I really don't know. I believe at this point, Minnesota, for Minnesota, Burgos is in goal. Burgos is the goalkeeper for Minnesota. Orozco had played most of the game, but Burgos is in there now. And they switched at some point here recently. Chip to the middle, headed back to his own guy by Wynn. And at the other end, Echeverry remains on the field for Wichita. So their goalkeeper remains the same. Here's Wynn with a drive, and that one's knocked away by Kopany before it got through to Burgos. Chrisman. Oh, nice job by Ortiz to knock down a pass attempt and race ahead with the ball. Dribbles it up to Esteban. Esteban as Henry slides and tips it into the corner. Under 6 minutes remaining. Esteban lines up a right-footed shot, but that one was sprayed to the right, and it goes up and out of play. Minnesota will put some new runners on the pitch, as will Wichita. Wichita, just a 12-player unit here today. They had 13 players yesterday. This flies into the hands of Burgos. Heaves it down the pitch, looking for DeGrotto. DeGrotto is a player on the backside there. DeGrotto will handle it himself, blast it off the body of Henry. And then Yang tries to corral it. Under 5.5 to go. Yang spun around, left-footed shot, saved by Echeverry. Ooh, Yang kind of shoved down a bit by Henry, and this will be a foul against Wichita. Clock stops with 5:15 remaining. Out to DeGrotto. DeGrotto shot out of play. during the quarter break, I think it was the quarter break, that they did send some of the officials back behind those temporary boards to dig out some of the extra soccer balls to keep the game flowing along quicker. 5:10 on the clock and a 12-7 Minnesota lead, looking for their second win of the season, trying to score the weekend sweep of Wichita, and are 5 minutes away from doing so, protecting a 5-goal advantage. Weller centers it over Turf, who started the scoring, taps it back to Weller. Yang to DeGrotto off the dashers. Oh, quite a set play. And the ball went just under Yang. Now over Turf. Jabbing at it with the right toe is Echeverry, pushing it to the corner. That was definitely a set play to come to Yang off the boards from DeGrotto, but they just didn't quite connect with it. But fun to see the teams attempt those sort of plays unique to indoor soccer. 4.5 remaining. Escobedo. Yang, nice job, comes up with the steal and gets pulled down, but still Minnesota advantage with Overturf dancing in. A sliding tackle by Lakin. He does it again. Oh, that one might have gone off the head of Overturf. He's all right, though. He's getting back to his feet. Good work by Henry with 2 players on him. Now Moreno comes running into the sideboards. DeGrotto tried to pass to him, but that was intercepted. 2-on-1 at the other end. It is Valise over to Robbins. Oh, what a great left-footed save by Burgos. Playing hard to the end. DeGrotto slips it over to Weller, I think. Now DeGrotto point blank, but he can't pull the trigger. Plus, Echeverry came out to challenge. Weller with the steal away from Escobedo. Moreno. And a nifty play there to lift the ball up from behind himself with the ball between his heels to flick it back to himself, but Echeverry was there to answer that trick play. 3:15 to go. A little head fake by Maldonado. Blast off the near post, essentially, or right on the edge of the dasher board there, as Minnesota tried to add to their advantage with 2:45 remaining. Up 12-7. Echeverry takes his time, blasts it on goal, knocked away by Burgos to the corner. Esteban will lob it past and wide right. .22 remaining. Henry. Challenged by Ortiz. Ortiz picks up the pressure a little bit. Henry sneaks around him. Robbins. Oh, he had Wynn right in front, looking for a redirect. Then his centering one is knocked away by Burgos. Valise in too much traffic up to Esteban with 1:45 to go. Esteban, left-footed drive, well wide. That one kicks over the soccer glass and bangs against the hockey glass in the corner. Out of play anyway, but a couple of times a ball off the hockey glass has ricocheted back into play, but would still be considered out of play. 1:35 to go. Valise to Robbins. Now it's Escobedo. Echeverry. Swings it over to Henry. And a drive high. 1:15 to go. headed by Talise. Talise swings that one for Garcia. 1 minute to go in the game. Maldonado flicks it to the outside to Tellez. Back to Maldonado. Unlike yesterday, where the final minute was tense with Minnesota up by 1, Minnesota's up by 5 with 40 seconds to go and are about a half a minute away from a weekend sweep of Wichita. Back-to-back wins and feeling good going into the 2-week break until they play their final 2 games of the regular season with the Raptors and the Demon Hawks. 23 seconds to go. Ooh, collision against the sideboards. Minnesota player Maldonado, slow to get up, but he's up. 15 seconds, back to him. Can't really get off the shot. Now tries a bicycle kick. That sails, but that's fun to see. 10 seconds to go. Players will sign autographs after the game. Henry is happy to stand there and let the final 5 seconds come off. 2 seconds, 1 second, and the Minnesota Blizzard have back-to-back wins over the Wichita Wings. It was 6-5 yesterday. It is 12-7 today as Minnesota gets the weekend sweep for their second straight win. 12-7 is the final score. I'll have the scoring recap and wrap it up from the Centennial Sports Arena after these notes on Game Time MN. Coverage of the Minnesota Blizzard MASL2 soccer.
When the lights go on, Game Time Media goes live.
In the direction of Welker, he's got it.
From the booth to the baseline, this is how high school sports were meant to be experienced. Every shot, every game, and every moment turning your highlights into history. Trusted by the biggest names in Minnesota high school sports, Game Time Media is not just a broadcast, it's a time capsule. Your school, your story, your time. Game Time Media.
Final score of 12-7, Minnesota defeating Wichita to get a weekend sweep here at the Centennial Sports Arena. Back-to-back victories, a 12-7 win today. Not as much drama as last night, a 1-goal victory, an exciting game, a game that was very tight throughout. Today's game had a bit of a different feel to it because Minnesota did establish a lead before the end of the first quarter, but Wichita hung with until in the fourth quarter, Minnesota got that 5-goal lead. Wichita did score to make it a 4-goal lead, but Minnesota's goal with 7:20 to go, DeGrotto, who had the game winner yesterday, gets the final goal of today's game. Overturf led it off for Minnesota. Henry evened it up for Wichita. Then you had Weller and Esteban with back-to-back goals. Wichita's Valise scored before the end of the first quarter. Ortiz back-to-back in the second quarter. Wichita answered on a Robbins goal. And then DeGrotto and Weller scored back-to-back about 3 minutes apart to give Minnesota a 7-3 lead at halftime. Then scored early in the third quarter, upping that lead by 1. Back-to-back goals by Wichita, just 16 seconds apart after Lucio and Mathis scored. And then Lucio added another goal late in the third quarter. All of a sudden, it was a little bit of a different game at 8-6. But in the fourth quarter, Garcia for Minnesota, Weller with his hat-trick goal, DeGrotto with his second goal. That 3-goal outburst gave Minnesota some breathing room. Robbins scored for Wichita, and then DeGrotto with his hat-trick goal, 13th goal of the season, ended the scoring on the night with 7:20 to go in the fourth quarter. Minnesota with the win improves to 2-8 on the season, and they win the season series over the Wings, taking 2 out of 3 last night and today. Wichita drops to 4-5-2 on the season. They will wrap up their season next week on Friday when they play at Omaha. Minnesota waits a little bit, April 11th and 12th, so that's still 3 weeks off. April 11th and 12th with Iowa Raptors and Iowa Demon Hawks coming into Centennial Sports Arena to wrap up their second season in the MASL2. Well, big thank you for watching along here on Game Time MN. Roy on the coverage here on the microphone. Tim and Laurel working camera here today for this evening's game. So in 3 weeks, we'll reconnect on April 11th and 12th. Don't forget, the summer team actually has a game coming up on April 4th, Easter weekend. Learn more about that NPSL game at the Minnesota Blizzard Facebook page. But we'll say goodnight for now off of a Minnesota Blizzard victory, 12-7 over the Wichita Wings. Thanks for watching, and we'll meet again in a few weeks.